Are you tired of being around people who just don't get you? Have you been putting yourself out there but not able to find anybody that matches your vibe? You're not alone. Making friends, especially as an adult, is hard. My name's Coach Lee. I'm a social connections coach, and I want to help you find your tribe. I have a 3-step coaching program for groups and individuals that's designed to help you get to the right place, to meet the right people, to have the right kind of conversations that leave you feeling fulfilled, appreciated, and understood. After going through the Find Your Tribe coaching program, you'll discover who it is that you really want to be connected to, how to find those people, and what you need to talk about so that your relationship moves from an acquaintanceship to a close friendship. And with this program, you won't be on this journey alone. You'll have access to a private community in which there are others who are just as intentional about making the kind of connections you are. You'll also have access to live events like weekly Q&As, speed friending, and much more. You'll be able to practice your skills in a safe environment and feel confident to connect authentically when you get out into the real world. If you're ready to get started on making meaningful connections and lasting relationships, then apply to the coaching program by using the link in the show notes. Hey, what's going on? My name's Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to explore this downside of being more connected with yourself. Well, seemingly downside. It doesn't feel great at first. When you start doing your healing work, you discover, or it seems like, there are a lot of people in your life who just aren't doing the work. And it could also make you feel a bit lonely. We're going to discover why that happens and what you can do to get out of it. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, this is the biggest problem that I've seen so far with breaking generational patterns. With recognizing your own behaviors, your actions, your feelings, and being more thoughtful about how you interact with other people. It can be a bit daunting and exhausting because it seems like everybody else is just chilling, doing whatever they were doing before, and you're the only one who's doing the work. You're doing the heavy lifting. You explore your feelings and you examine your behaviors that are attached to them, and you're focused on who you are and how you show up in spaces, but nobody else cares. They just do what they've always done, especially your family members. They just talk the way they always have. They tell you not to be so sensitive. They tell you not to take things to heart. They say you're making stuff up. It's not a big deal. You keep getting dismissed and invalidated, and you've healed and you've learned that your feelings matter and they're important to talk about. And you know it. And so you try and talk, but everybody's doing what they normally do. So you come in and you feeling you're empowered and you healed and you start talking about things and they just roll right over you. And it's frustrating because you're like, dang, I'm doing the work. I'm doing the work. You people, you're my people. You're my family. These things should matter to you just as much as they matter to me. Your feelings matter to me too. Family, I'm telling you, your feelings matter to me. But, well, what do you do here? Because they just don't have the same skills. They don't have the same skills that you have. And so you try and connect with them all healed, but you just feel more hurt. And you feel like, oh, I got to get away from these people. I want to share with you that this is part of my own journey. This is what I discovered in my own journey. This is all my own experiences. All the stuff I'm talking about is real to me. It's something that's happened with me. For the longest time, I believed my feelings didn't matter to my family members. And then when I started to recognize my feelings and show them, I thought perhaps I wasn't sharing them the right way. I go and I share them and I just wasn't sharing them the right way. But nope, still, it seems like it's not something that clicks with them. It's the method in which I communicate the feelings. And so I really believe that my family, maybe not your family, but my family, they care about each other And they're working the best they can with the tools that they have. So you may not believe that about your family, but I tend to believe that about most people that I encounter, is that they just work with the tools that they have. It's not that they are intentionally trying to hurt you. And if they are intentionally trying to hurt you, then that's the best they can do. That's the best they can show how they feel about themselves inside. I'm probably getting on a tangent, but real quickly to explain that is, I believe that everybody expresses how they feel inside. And if people are intentionally trying to hurt you, then they are hurt inside. So they're doing the best that they can to express their feeling about being alive. And it sucks. But what I'd like to say is that I think my family really wants to connect. They really want to connect. They really want to talk about things that are important to them. They just don't know how to do it because all of their lives, they have talked about what was important to them and been told to be quiet. Just the same way as I go into that space and I talk about things that are important to me and they were like, be quiet. Because those are the tools that they were given. And this is how it rolls. This is how we roll. So when we're healed up, we recognize that, oh man, this is happening. They're still saying the same thing. And if we're not careful, we can be triggered into responding in the way we had before. I want to be heard. I want to be heard. I want to be heard. Just listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. And they're going, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. And you constantly listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. And after enough of it doesn't matter, you leave again. Even though you're healed, it just hurts a little more. It just hurts a lot more. So you're not exactly healed from that pain of not being heard because you still have that desire to be heard. And guess what? Guess what? This is what I discovered in my journey. So do they. So do they, the family members. So do those people that are around you. They have this desire to be heard. They want you to listen to them just as much as you want to be listened to. They want you to hear what they have to say about the things in the world. They want to express their feelings to you in hopes that you can demonstrate that you understand how they feel about their experiences. And now it gets even harder to communicate with them because the way you express your feelings is different from what they've expressed before, what you've expressed to them before, and how they communicate to you. So you got to be able to fill the gap or to transmute, to translate what they're saying and reflect it back to them in a way that they can understand, right? So it gets difficult because it's like, oh man, that's so much work that I got to do. You know, they understood the yelling that you did before, but now this calm talking, tell me your feelings, breathe, relax. No, that just frustrates them even more because they don't understand that. This is from my own personal journey, of course. This is what I've discovered. And if you feel that, if you understand what I'm saying to you, then I want you to know that the way that I've discovered to work around this and to really connect with my family, because I've had some success, go me, I've had some success and I want to share it with you as well. But the way to do this is to listen. One of you've got to listen. And listen, it's just not going to be them, okay? It's just not, because it's not in their skill set. You went out there and you learned. You went to therapy. You did some self-reflection. You journaled. You cried. You let your emotions out. You've understood them, but they haven't done the things. Chances are they haven't done the same things that you have, and so they don't have the skill set to do it. You ask them how they feel, and they don't know. They can't tell you because they don't know. What you have to do, what I've done, and I'd recommend for you, is to demonstrate to them how it looks. They don't know what it's like to be heard because no one's hearing them. No one's hearing them. They're just yelling at each other. Nobody's hearing them. They're complaining. They're pushing it or prodding at each other. They're doing unkind things to each other to be heard because they're all hurt. Right? You don't participate in that. You demonstrate to them that what they have to say is important. What they have to say is valid. It means something. The same thing that you want them to do for you, they cannot do because they have not experienced. If you go into that space and you demonstrate to them that you hear them, you understand them, you appreciate them, even though it's I know it's hard because they're yelling, they're picking at you, they're pointing their fingers at you, saying you coulda, shoulda, woulda. They're trying to break you down. Remember that is how they feel inside. For some reason, we humans, we express what we feel inside. And so they just pour it out on you. But if you know that it's not about you, and eventually you're going to be able to hear something that's important and reflect that back to them, hear their pain and reflect it back to them in a way that makes them know that you understand them, you're going to make a connection. And man, it is hard. It is really difficult because you are the only one doing the work. It seems like it. But if they only had the tools, they could do the work. Why don't they go to therapy on their own? I don't know. I don't know. But here you are. You're the one who has the desire to have the connection. If you do not have the desire to have a connection, then don't do it. Don't be all up in my inbox saying you can't do this, you shouldn't. Don't be advising people. I'm not advising you. If you're not interested in making this connection, then don't. But for the other people who see that their family could benefit, who might be able to see that there's something there, who really want to try something new, try something different, I'm here to help you and support you with that. I'll be right back with the Answer Reddit question. Hey, this is Coach Lee Hopkins here. I just want to let you know that you're awesome and your feelings matter. I know the holidays are fast approaching, and if you're going home to a family to be surrounded by people who don't believe that your feelings matter, and you constantly get caught up in the fighting and the frustrations, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, the obligations that you have with family, I want to empower you to break those generational patterns of disdain and distrust. On October 9th, for 4 weeks, I will be releasing content from my masterclass, Friends with Family. This content from Friends with Family is going to help you develop skills to be more grounded in yourself so that you can actually connect with your family. By the end of the 4 weeks, you are going to learn to create more connecting and curious conversations. You'll also learn how to navigate high drama topics without getting drawn into a conflict. Now, this course is not going to fix deep-seated problems that you might have with your family members, and it won't heal any traumas that you've experienced. It's going to help you communicate more authentically, to empower you to have regular conversations and actually connect with your family. Each week, I'm going to release a video for you to watch on demand as you want. And then I will be answering questions on a live Q&A on the coming Friday. If this interests you, it's absolutely free to join, absolutely free to follow along. There's no obligation. It's my sincere hope that more of us out there who are breaking those generational patterns to not just stop the pain from moving forward, but to really become friends with our family. If you want to be a part of this, we start October 9th. Check the link in the show notes. All right, now it's time for the Reddit friendship advice question. If you have a friendship advice question that you think I should answer, tag me in it on Reddit. My handle is Brilliant and Resilient. That's Brilliant, the letter N, Resilient. This one comes from our family. I thought it would be appropriate since we were talking about family relationships on this one. The title is Mother-Daughter Relationship Issues, Mental Health, and Religion. I'm a 30-year-old female. My mom and I have had problems going back as far as I can remember. These got worse when she got laid off and started spying on me with a keystroke logger program and devoting her time to the Catholic Church. My dad isn't very religious, but his first wife passed young, and tragically, he treats my mother like a queen. He goes along to get along. So it was church every weekend at least, confirmation, youth group, and so on. I was never interested much in religion, especially when it was crammed down my throat by all these forced activities, including a month-long pilgrimage to Bosnia when I was in high school. She always told me I didn't have to come to church with her once I moved out of the house, and she wasn't paying for anything. And that's been the case. But I'm still guilted on going to church when I visit home. My mom has anxiety and depression, which she graciously passed on to me. But my dad is cool and collected. He juggles it all. She's had crazy freakouts at my dad, and he just has to grovel, basically. They've been married for 32 years. I absolutely love my dad, but my mom and my relationship is so harmful to mine and my dad's. We always have church-related issues because my face doesn't hide how I feel about the church, but I try. See, last Christmas, she was talking about how priests don't get background checks, and that's good because whatever they did before being a priest doesn't matter anyway. I obviously question the accuracy of the whole idea of it. That was an epic blowout. My mom doesn't cuss, but that night she told me I was fucking evil. My dad spent the night trying to talk her down while getting yelled at, and I felt awful. He goes along with it so much I feel like she thinks it's okay to treat me this way. She cares more about the church than any of us and has made it very obvious. This weekend, another blowout happened due to me coming to the church for the first time to please my 93-year-old grandma for her birthday. And I questioned why the priest made all the new people stand up so he could look at them, quote, look at them. She completely ruined dinner, passive aggressive. She was passive aggressive all night. This morning she told me we didn't need to talk anymore. It's hard because she does and says all this stuff that makes me feel like garbage, but then she can also be really caring and have my favorite foods or little trinkets I might like waiting for me. When we're not having church issues, we get along pretty well. I have no clue how to handle the situation without cutting off at least one family member. And not talking to my mom would mean losing my dad too, and keeping my iffy mental health situation afloat. Okay. Wow. Redditor, thank you so much for writing this. This is pretty long and dope. And, it's a family thing. Like, I had a religious thing with my family too. And there's a lot of people these days aren't just not even caring about religion, and they don't make it a priority to have religion in their life. And so you were also, moving away from that. And of course, because you had all these experiences where it was forced and you didn't really have a choice but to accept Jesus into your heart and all the rituals and things that come with it, you want to move away from that. And besides that, your mom is really not kind to you. Yeah, this is wild, right? This is wild. And it's frustrating to not be seen as a whole autonomous adult to your parents or to your mom. And I can see that you have empathy for her too, because, you're 30 years old and you've been trying to go along to get along. Essentially, that's something that your dad kind of modeled because you want to connect, you want to be in that space with them. And what I'd recommend to you is that, man, it's hard, but this is the healing piece where you take a break from these people and you get away from them. You get away from them for a bit. And I know you moved out. It says you moved out, but one of the things that I did was just stop talking to my family. I just couldn't maintain a connection with them and do anything for myself because I would just automatically be retriggered. And we would just fight and we'd argue, and I'd want to change things and I'd want to push things around. I want to change the way they live their life, but there's no way I can change the way they live their life. I change the way I live my life. And when I interact with them and I was unconscious of my own behaviors and patterns, when I interact, I'd just be set off and I just get hooked in. I just get hooked in and I would be arguing and I would be in the chaos that you were talking about, right? So you don't want to do that. You need some space to heal for sure, a space to talk about this stuff, space to get some skills to be able to return to the situation. So your mom, what I understand, and this is a high level overview of, basically what I see here is that your mom wants things to be her way, and she's used to doing the things, the theatrics, the yelling, the screaming to get her way. She's used to doing the manipulation to get her way. The manipulation can look like her yelling and screaming, or it could look like treating you to your favorite things, right? They're getting the behavior that you want. I mean, they know how to push and they know how to pull you. And because you're not really focused on the pushing and the pulling, or what the actions are to push and pull. Like when they give you the thing, it's like, oh, well, I guess they really like me and they really care for me. I better just calm down because I don't want to ruin this moment. Instead of being like, oh, this is manipulation. This doesn't feel good. I don't like being here. I want to talk about the fact that you made a big mess a minute ago and keeps telling me terrible things about myself. We let those things go. We don't acknowledge the feelings that we have about each and every experience. And once you go back and you start being able to talk about those experiences, you are going to have an easier time recognizing when they come up. So talking about those experiences happens away from your family. It happens away from the trigger, because you won't be able to function because the trigger is there. And you can't talk to your mom because then she's going to go manipulate you in some way until you figure out what the manipulation is by going to a therapist or someone outside of this and be like, oh, wow, I was really upset. And every time, somebody puts a nice meal in front of me, I think that they want something from me, or they're going to yell at me, or something bad's going to happen. I really want to talk to my family members, but just recognize that in this state of mind, it makes it really difficult to have anything different happen. You can go and expect the same thing to happen if you're not a different person. So what I recommend to you is what I recommend to everybody, is to recognize themselves, journal, write the stuff down. You did a pretty good job of journaling here on Reddit, but I'd like to say that I didn't really see any feelings here in that. We're doing pretty well. Don't get background checks. I don't know if I see anything that says she does stuff that makes me feel like garbage. Something like, I'm angry and I'm hurt. I'm disappointed. And specifically about what? I'm angry that she says I was fucking evil. I'm hurt that she said I was fucking evil. I felt awful. I see that. I felt awful. That's something that's good there. You felt awful because your dad was getting yelled at and you felt like it was your fault. But one of the things I can see here is that there's a push and pull. It's the last thing I'll say about this, is the push and pull. It's like you want to be heard and she also wants to be heard. She wants things to be her way. She wants you to know how important church is to her. And by goodness, don't you know, as all the stuff that she's pushed on you, don't you know? I wonder why it's so important to her. What's so important about going to church for her? I wonder if you know that. I wonder if... The reason why I bring this up is because we're constantly trying to be heard while no one's listening. And she's doing something that needs to be heard. If you so choose to listen, if you continue to be in that space, you have to be untriggered by the actions, the antics that she does, so that you can hear what she says, hear it. And so it's less of a dramatic reenactment or an action, screaming, stalking, that kind of stuff. And you're actually hearing her. Now, again, this is all voluntary stuff, right? I'm not a therapist. I'm not telling you to go and be yelled at and be abused and all kinds of stuff. But it seems like you really want to connect with her. And in order to do that, somebody has to listen. And man, it feels awful because you're the only one doing the work, or you have the higher awareness or whatever. But it feels like, oh man, I got to do this alone. It's frustrating. She's going to be momming and I'm going to be trying to listen to her while not getting, hit in the head with these insults. And I laugh at it because I've been through it and I know it. I know what it feels like. But on the other side of it, it's really amazing. I can't tell you how wonderful my relationship with my mom has been and how we actually talk to each other, and she's supportive, and I understand more about her and her experiences in her life. And she's telling me stories now about how she grew up and about how fun things were and how some things weren't fun. Some things are really painful. But I get the privilege to hear that because I wasn't triggered or scared or frustrated or took it really to heart with her expression of her world to me. how she expressed it. The way she learned how to express it. I learned about what it was like for her when she grew up. And man, she did a lot of work to make sure that we didn't grow up in the same kind of environment. She did a lot of work. And I respect that. And I love it. And I just can't. I'm just so excited that it is true for me. And I want it to be true for you too. I want it to be so that they feel heard, understood, accepted, appreciated, acknowledged. And you still get to keep all of your own feelings about what happened, but it's just not the right time to discuss it. You got to go talk to somebody else and get some healing, and then you can return to the space. Specifically with the skill to be able to hear them, reflect back to them without having all of your own emotions in the mix. My 4-week class is exactly designed for this kind of thing. It's not something that's going to get you healed and have you have easy conversations. That's going to take work, but it's going to put you in the right direction to identify those triggers, to work on those triggers, and to be in a supportive environment in which you can do so. The first video dropped yesterday. The classes are on demand with a Q&A every single week, so I can answer your questions specifically, your questions about your issue. So you may as well join us. Come get some of this understanding, healing, and don't feel so alone while you're doing it. I hope to see you there. Redditor, thank you so much for asking your question. I know that you didn't ask me to answer it, but I did, and I hope that it helps. Best of luck to you. Take care. My name is Coach Lee Hopkins, and you have been listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. You can find me at patternsofpossibility.com and on all social media at Patterns of Possibility. And as always, I want to encourage you to be yourself, live your truth, and there you'll make lasting friendships.